Self-reliance in Botswana's education philosophy. At independence, Botswana inherited the educational system of their former colonial masters. And the education system was aligned to what was left behind for them by their colonial masters. There was nothing wrong with that. But as the gentleman there said, every country would like to have an educational system where the philosophy of the country will be embedded in the educational system. Because it's the philosophy of the country that tells you what the country wants for their people. So nothing happened until 10 years after independence. A national commission was set up, which came up with the first national education policy in Botswana. And that policy was called Education for Kaisano, or Education for Social Justice. The aim of this paper is to look at the effects of internationalization on the national principle of self-reliance. And the paper focuses on the nature of internationalization in Botswana, the curriculum content and staffing, as well as the impact on the actualization of self-reliance in Botswana. Why self-reliance? Education for Kaisano was driven by 4 national principles: the principle of development, democracy, self-reliance, and unity. Later, a 5th one was added, the principle of Botho. Botho was added after 1997 with the introduction of Vision 2016. So many studies have been carried on democracy as one of the national principles driving the philosophy of Botswana's education. Not much, even unity. I've seen some studies on unity, not much on self-reliance. I chose self-reliance because we've been talking about employability of graduates, the global market, challenges of the global market. By self-reliance, the Botswana included this as one of the national principles, to prepare the people to be able to rely on themselves. Don't quote me wrong. This does not mean that they do not need the help of others. Self-reliance, for somebody to be well equipped, that if not waiting for the government to do everything for you. I know a country in Africa where unemployment was heavy, and an individual came up with the idea of a film industry. They started this film industry, and it is one of the booming industries in Africa now, employing people. So the issue of self-reliance was for them to be able to have those skills that will help them to stand on their own in the case that government will not be able to give jobs to people and other things. So self-reliance. And when I did a comparative analysis of some of the national policies of our Anglophonic countries, I noticed that 3 major concepts were predominant in all of them: self-reliance, unity, democracy. So how is internationalization helping us? Thank you. Internationalization is not a new thing in Botswana or in Africa. Zelisa 2013 points out that internationalization of higher education has started a long time ago, though in different forms. After independence, many universities in Africa were international in outlook because those universities, such as University of Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland, they were staffed by foreign academics. And these academics were largely drawn from the colonial power, and they attracted students from different areas. So it's not a new concept. It's just that the hype is on now because of the need to make it more global and more practical. So, trying to save time. Even the University of Botswana states that the participation in the global world was necessary for them in order to be integrated into the internationalization drive. As evidence, we have faculties in the University of Botswana like engineering, technology, science. All these things were introduced in order to equip people with skills that they could use in the event that they do not get jobs. The newly established University of Science and Technology in Palape International University is also a testimony to the issue of introducing international content in our curriculum. Oh, sorry, I've missed something. We have other institutions of higher learning in Botswana that are contributing tremendously to the issue of internationalization, helping us to achieve self-reliance in terms of our graduates. After graduating, what do they do if they don't get jobs? We talk about employability. You may be employable but not employed. So that is what brings us to self-reliance. Acquiring the skills that will help us to establish private businesses. No matter the scale, one might say, where do we get the money to do that? No matter the scale, instead of not being employed or not having any source of income. Institutions, private tertiary institutions in Botswana need from India, started in Botswana as a training institute to equip people with computing skills. And many people who passed out of this could attest that they started well and they are still doing well. Hence, we have Botho University. I remember when I wanted to do some computing lessons, my husband said, just go to NEET. It was called NEET, and get the actual term. So they started, and now it's Botho University. Skills, subjects, courses that will equip individuals with skills to help them to compete, whether they have jobs or they don't have jobs. Because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. We have other institutions like Lincoln University of Technology with the international outlook and the courses they do. Individuals are equipped to be able to stand on their own. That is my own standpoint. I'm not talking about once you're a graduate, you have a PhD, the jobs are there waiting for you. Let's talk about practicality. Is it practicable? So where it doesn't happen, do you have to let your talent, your degrees to be wasted? No. Hence, the issue of self-reliance in terms of being able to establish what you do and make some money. My research was informed by some third-year intern students that I interviewed when they were doing their internship. So the newspaper I read last month, Daily News of 15th October, was saying that Botswana now wants to consider not including IT specialists and accountants in their scarce skill category because they have many IT specialists and accountants now. Where do people go to if there are no jobs? If you have the skills that can help you establish something that will make you to stand on your own, that will help us a lot to stop the issue of crime rates or other things associated with lack of jobs.